Whether you're visiting San Francisco for the very first time or you're a native, everyone should visit the infamous Alcatraz Island at least once in their lifetimes. When buying tickets, it's important to get them from a legit company, and the best is city experiences. That said, tickets during the summer months and busy times of the year tend to sell out fast, sometimes weeks and even months in advance, so the best way to get them is through Dylan's Tours, which offers an incredible tour that highlights the best of the San Francisco Bay Area, including Muir Woods, Sausalito, and Alcatraz all in one day. So if Alcatraz tickets are indeed sold out, definitely check out Dylan's Tours to get the best tour of Alcatraz and beyond. Now, back to our guide on how to visit and experience Alcatraz Island. The boats for Alcatraz leave from Pier 33, and while there are several parking lots in the area, those get quite expensive and it's easier to take public transportation or a Lyft or Uber. I would not recommend driving, as this area is unfortunately known for car break-ins and metered parking can be tricky to find. Once you arrive to the pier, with your tickets purchased and on your phone, take some time to check out the replica of Alcatraz Island. It gives you an awesome visual of what you're about to explore. Before you leave, make sure to make note of the departure times. You're allowed to leave Alcatraz at any time, and each boat departs the island around every 30 minutes. While there, they also have restrooms and a place to refill your water bottle. If you're looking to enjoy the island with the least crowds, consider taking the first boat out to the island. Once you board the boat, you're free to sit anywhere you'd like, but I recommend heading to the top of the boat so you can enjoy the panoramic views of the city and surrounding areas like Angel Island, the Golden Gate Bridge, the Bay Bridge, downtown San Francisco, and more. It's a quick 15-minute ride, so you'll reach Alcatraz in no time. Once you get off the boat, there will be a park ranger who gives a little orientation to the island, and then you're free to explore. We decided to do the audio tour, and it was a great decision. It gives you a full history of the island, the inmates, and guides you throughout the jail. The first thing you'll do is head up to the cell tower to start the tour. It's the equivalent of 13 flights of stairs, but if mobility is an issue, you can always ask for a ride up. I recommend spending at least 2 hours on the island, but you could easily spend half a day here. Though we unfortunately came on a rainy day, Alcatraz is also home to a diverse flora and fauna, with several gardens and bird colonies inhabiting the island. The contrast between the island's natural beauty and its green history is pretty unique. Once you get to the cell house and get your audio tour, the tour is self-guided and you simply follow directions and numbers as you explore the jail and listen to the history of Alcatraz at each of the various stops. I honestly thought the audio tour would be super boring, but it was surprisingly very interesting, and it was awesome to hear the stories of the prisoners, guards, and everyday life in Alcatraz. Alcatraz has a rich history dating back to the mid-19th century when it was first developed as a military fortress. It later became a federal prison in 1934, housing some of America's most notorious criminals. The island gained notoriety as a high-security federal penitentiary known for its harsh conditions and reputation as being inescapable. The stories of attempted prison breaks and the lives of its inmates are fascinating to hear. Today, Alcatraz is managed by the National Park Service and offers guided tours of the prison facilities. Visitors can explore the cell blocks, the dining hall, the library, the recreation yard, all while learning about the daily lives of both the prisoners and the guards. Alcatraz officially opened on July 1st, 1934. Each prisoner had his own cell. Alcatraz typically held around 260 to 275 prisoners, which represented less than 1% of the entire federal inmate population. Here we can see some of the most notorious prisoners on the rock, including Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly, and the Birdman of Alcatraz. It's pretty surreal walking through the prison cells, so give yourself some time to roam and explore on your own. The good thing about the audio tour is you can pause and resume whenever you want. This was the most notorious cell block in all of Alcatraz and housed the most dangerous inmates. At the end of D Block, there were 6 cells known as the Hole. These cells were reserved for prisoners who exhibited the worst behavioral problems, and they were subjected to harsh and brutal punishments during their times here. From here, we headed over to the library, which held over 15,000 volumes of literature ranging from philosophy to fiction. They say that the inmates sought to escape reality by reading and that the convicts read between a shocking 75 to 100 books a year. From here, we continue to walk through the rows of cells. In some of the cells, you can see the art that they were working on, games they played, as well as some of the things that occupied their time. Though they say no inmate ever successfully escaped the rock, more than a dozen known attempts were made over the years. Here you can see the decoy head and body that was fashioned to fool the prison guards. These prisoners chipped away at the rotting cell walls with sharpened spoons and escaped out of their cells through the small vents before scaling the utility corridor up to the roof to try to make it to the shore. The tour takes you through the dining hall and the kitchen, giving you more of a glimpse of what it was like living here. After leaving the cell house, you can check out the warden's office, which has old photographs, as well as a 1952 replica model of Alcatraz. When you're done with the audio tour, you'll find yourself at a pretty interesting museum about incarceration in America today and a gift shop with some fun souvenirs and books. Around the jail, you can explore the lighthouse, which is actually the first in the West Coast. It was built in 1854 and restored in 1909. Before concluding the tour, definitely make a stop at the recreation yard. Here, the prisoners got some fresh air, played baseball, exercised, and tried to relax. That said, the yard was surrounded by a catwalk along the exterior walls where armed guards would watch the men, so relaxing is a relative term here. You can also check out the remains of some of the buildings, including the warden house and a little garden area. On the south side of the island, you typically can enjoy beautiful views of the San Francisco skyline, but today, not so much. Keep an eye out for all the birds that nest here too. The most common is the western seagull, but sometimes you'll see cormorants, and this is the only place in the San Francisco Bay that they nest. Other buildings you can explore include the remains of the guardhouse and Sallyport, the officers club, the warehouse, and the power plant. We're gonna have to come back here to explore more when the sun's out. I hope this guide helps you for the next time you're planning a trip to Alcatraz. I'll leave this beautiful view here. Happy travels, and remember, check out Dylan's tours for the best tours of the city, Bay Area, and beyond, and especially when tickets to Alcatraz are all sold out.